Price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I am your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, hit all of these buttons. We're very close to 10K. Okay, we're almost there. In the next month or so, we should hit that goal. And we're going to do a lot of talking, and there's going to be a lot of progress and everything like that. We're going to do a lot of reflecting afterwards once we hit that goal. But because I got a lot, I really want to take this channel to a much bigger, broader level. But I want to hit this goal first, okay? Which we're going to hit, okay? We're going to hit sooner or later, all right? We're going to hit way before the deadline. We got a lot of people in here already. A couple minutes late, apologize. But there's a lot of clips that I want to bring up, okay? Hurricane IQ, I see you. Our good Ahmad, Nikki, the God is in here. Antithesis is in here. Maggie, my voice channel, Q2 Wise Beloved is in here. Spidey is in here. The Hula Gang is in here. Derek, now listen. Let me take this off the screen and explain one thing before we get started. If you guys have not seen, ever since I came back from Atlanta at the thing, a lot of people have been trolling me. And they've been trolling our good brother Black Alpha too. A lot of people have been trolling us. Now, people have asked a lot of people, like, why, Afro, why are you talking about this? What does this have to do with Black empowerment? Oh, you're out of subjects to talk about. You must be desperate to talk about this. Oh, you must need the views. You must need this. No, not really. There's a lot of other things that I could be talking about. And there's a lot of other topics that we will be talking about. Is this a dire situation? No. But I think that topics like this are important because essentially what this channel is about is not necessarily about reparations or police brutality or anything like that. It's about Black empowerment in general, which includes self-improvement, which we use situations like this as a case study. I might even change the title of the name, because as I was breaking this down, I'm like, damn, I might change the title of the name to make it more accurate. We use situations like this as a case study so we can learn not to make certain mistakes, so we can learn certain problems for overall self-improvement, okay? This isn't he cheated on her, blah, blah. It's not really like that. It's not really like that. But this is overall self-empowerment, you know? You can learn from anything, and you should learn from anything. Anytime there's a lesson that you can learn from, you should learn from that, all right? So this is why we're talking about this subject, okay? So, and a lot of the people were giving bad faith arguments. A lot of people were trolling. A lot of people were saying mostly Hurricane said, who said that? Just some people on Twitter, some people in the comments. There's a lot of times certain comments, people make a comment and then delete the comment because they know that you guys kind of get on them when they make a comment. So they'll make a comment and then delete it, but I'll see it because they'll pop up in the notifications. So folks be doing that too. So it happens. It happens. So that's why. All right. That's why. Now, how you start, and I say this for a while, right? How you start something is how you finish it. Okay. You start something on a good track. You start something on a good foundation. You start something well, and then you end it off well. Then you finish it off well. Then it can go on strong. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I believe going into the marriage, both Will and Jada were very damaged people who essentially needed therapy, but decided to get married and almost kind of help each other with their therapy, which necessarily is not something that marriages don't happen. Oftentimes, when you marry somebody, no matter who you marry, it's not going to be in a perfect position. Nobody you're going to marry is going to be perfect, okay? They're going to need keyword self-improvement throughout the marriage. That's in every marriage, not just Will and Jada, in every marriage, the marriage you're in, the marriage you might be in, whatever the case is. All right. The thing is, though, you still should have to, there's a limit. There's like a bar. Okay. Your damage bar cannot exceed a certain level. If it exceeds that level, then okay, you need to kind of fix yourself before you go into something thinking that that's going to fix you, because it won't. All right. So looking back at this, and why I say it was always doomed is because I saw this clip right here, and we're going to really start breaking all of these clips down now. Because of the copyright thing, of course, we're going to read that. I got a lot of clips up. I do. I only have the clips, and I wanted to show a lot more, but because of the safety of the channel, I only wanted to show the clips that were very, very necessary to, what's going on. All right. Okay, so let's get this out the way. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, let's get started. Okay, now this was the video when it loads up. This was a video back. Now it's muted. It's muted because there's music. All right. So they got married in the late 90s. And I want you guys to pay very close attention to their body language. I want you to pay very close attention to the body language, and we're going to build this case up because we're really going to break this down. Pay attention to the body language of Jada and pay attention to the body language of Will. All right. Now, as you can see, Jada's kind of showing her dress off or whatever the case is. And throughout if you take a second throughout everything, and this is early in the marriage. All right. This isn't years and years and years after they been through hell and water, okay, been through the fires and the hardships of marriage, which marriages have, right? But the thing is that this is very early. This is still kind of in what should have been the honeymoon phase of this marriage. This is what it should have been, all right? You can look and see that this marriage is already off on a very rocky start. They're looking like 2 years in that they're already having a difficult time. They're looking 2 years in. Jada, if you pay close attention to her body language, Jada is almost looking like she's being forced to be there with Will. Will is looking somewhat to Jada like he's a fan of hers. I'm going to play this clip a couple times so we can really analyze this, because this is going to be the foundation for the way we move going forward. All right. Now, you see, this is in 1999. Will reaches in for a kiss, and Jada sees that Will is reaching in, and she looks almost like she doesn't want to do it. And you're going to see this almost every time they kiss on the red carpet or anything. Jada's facial expressions look like she does not want to be there with Will. She doesn't want to do it, and they're being forced almost to be there together. Now, I want to just take that back, right? When Will, and not in the 90s, which one, the 2001, right? They're 4 years together. She's having an interview. Will tries to come up with sneak up behind her with a kiss or whatever the case is. And Jada pulls back and she's pulling away. And then he tries from the other side because he thinks, okay, well, maybe she's been surprised. Maybe I threw her off or whatever the case is. And she's looking very uncomfortable. Now, remember, we're doing this because we want to analyze certain things about how we can improve. We're using this as a case study about what to do and what not to do. All right. So I'm just showing you the foundation of how messy this is in that situation. Now, they've been together for 10 years at this point. Now, I think that this was very interesting. This is 2010. Will's doing this, trying to show affection to Jada. He leans in for the kiss, and she pretty much shakes her head no and looks at the camera. And they have a little argument. They have like a little back and forth right then on the stage, on the red carpet. Let me take it back just a little bit. He reaches in, he puts his glasses on, reaches in for the kiss. You can tell she's pulling back away from him and takes his glasses off. And they're going back and forth, and then they don't want to, show the press that, so they turn and smile for the camera. And that little peck right there was after the fact, all right? Now, this is 2015, Will is reaching in for the kiss, and Jada is leaning away from Will. And a lot of their pictures and everything like that, you see that. You see she's leaning away, all right? And she's kind of like forced to do it because it looks awkward at a certain point. But she gives a small little peck and then immediately faces the camera again. Will is looking at her and she's looking at the camera. And I'm saying this to show they have always had this problem. People didn't recognize it, but they've had this problem for a very almost since the beginning, really. All right. He does it again. She's not even looking at him. It's always him doing that. And then she's like, oh, fine, I guess. So they've always had that problem. That problem has been around for a long time. They've had that problem for a very, very long time. So how did it get to this point? How did it get to this point? I'm going to say, personally, based off of my research and everything, this has happened because Will was never the man that Jada wanted Will to be. Jada has been going around, and I'm being very selective with the clips I'm about to play. And I already played the copyright thing. Jada is going around now essentially saying that Tupac offered to marry her. Tupac was essentially trying to get at that with Jada. He was trying to get on to Jada, like be in a relationship with Jada. And Jada is going around in different podcasts and different interviews and stuff like that, essentially saying that she turned Tupac down, that she friend zoned Tupac. That's what she's saying now. All right. Which I sincerely doubt she's saying that, right? He's gay. Well, okay. We're going to have, because there's no solid proof of that. The rumor of him being gay came from one actress that they worked together with, and she's deceased now. Okay. So there's no confirmation of that. Now, what we're seeing things that is confirmation, but it is rumors of that, but there's no confirmation of that. Now, here's the thing. Now, let me play this clip. And this really goes into the thing with Jada. Now, she's having this self-reflective moment or whatever the case is, but let me show you this. Oh, I guess I should play it.
No, it's not just about what's happening on the outside, Jada. But if your inner world is not your foundation, it's all sandcastles. You know, I had a nervous breakdown, then I moved to Baltimore, I get a farmhouse there, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get out of LA. So I'm making a geographical move. I'm like, I just gotta get back to my roots. I gotta get back to my roots. And then Will comes along, and I'm like, maybe that's it. I need a man, and then it's like, latch onto that. It's like, okay, that's my new Prozac. Will, he's gonna, now it's his job to make my life better. That doesn't work either.
Okay. Now I've only played that little bit of a clip. Okay. The thing is that Jada has admitted now that she grew up, both her parents were addicted to drugs. She was selling drugs. She had thoughts of self-deletion. her only friend was Tupac or whatever the case is before she met Will. How Will met Jada is Will saw Jada on I think it was Living Colors or whatever, or a TV show. And Will did absolutely the most to reach out. And Will confirms this in a Red Table Talk interview. Will did the most to reach out to Jada, and that's when he met his first wife, because he couldn't meet Jada. Him and his first wife, they started dating if you guys didn't know, he was married before Jada. Different world, thank you. Him and his first wife got married, but Will was always kind of obsessed with Jada. Will had this, he had this thing he could not get over Jada. He did not cheat. No, there was no confirmation. Both him and his ex-wife and Jada all denied the fact that there was any cheating going on while he was married to his first wife. His first wife filed for divorce. He was not going to file for divorce. His first wife filed for divorce, and soon he got with Jada. Jada is saying that she got with Will, but the thing is that Jada has always expressed that she wanted to get with Tupac, talking about Tupac was her soulmate, Tupac this, writing letters to Tupac. Okay. The thing is with that is the fact that there's been no Tupac is dead, so there's no confirmation that Tupac was in on the relationship that Jada was in on, or, you know, whatever Jada claims to be the truth. So we're taking this for self-value, all right, or face value, I mean. Now, she attached herself to Will, and I'm going to play this clip from The Breakfast Club. She attached herself to Will because essentially she was going through a crisis. She was going through a crisis, and Will was going to be the man to make everything better. And Will wanted to be the man to make everything better because Will had this kind of I don't want to say obsession. If there's a lighter word to use, I'm going to think of it and use that. But Will had a very deep interest in Jada prior to them ever even getting in a relationship. So Will did want to come in with the cape on and be a superhero or whatever the case is. Now, let me play this and we're going to break this down. Yeah, it's a lot of trauma bonding. It's a lot of trauma bonding, actually.
Ever jealous of the love Jada had?
Let me tell you.
I just wondered, were you ever jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I thought you were gonna say no.
Oh my God, that dude. And that was in the early days.
Yeah,
that was in the early days, and it was like, that was a big regret for me too, because I could never open up to interact with Pac, you know, and because we had a little bit of a thing, right? Because they grew up together. And, they loved each other, but they never had that, they never had a sexual relationship, but they had come into that age where now that was a possibility.
Okay. I'm going to pause it right here. And say, now Jada is essentially saying that Tupac has kissed her multiple times, and Tupac has tried to marry her, and Tupac has tried to be with her multiple times, and she's turned Tupac down. She's going around saying that now, all right, to give you confirmation. Now he's saying that they grew up together. Not really. They didn't really grow up together. Okay, at least that's not what she's saying now. What she might have told Will at this point is not what she's saying now. Now, I want you to understand that this happened like a couple years before the Oscar slap. So we have a time stamp on this. All right.
And then Jada was with me, so, Pac had a little thing on that. But she just loved him like he was the image of perfection, but she was with the Fresh Prince, so it was like, I never could, like, even we were in a room together a couple times. I couldn't speak to him, and, he wasn't going to speak to me if I wasn't going to speak to him.
Really?
But,
it seemed like y'all would have so much in common.
No, that's what Jada would say all the time. She was like, I'm telling you, y'all are so similar. You will love him. And I just never, that was a huge regret of mine. I just didn't.
Now, I'm going to pause it right here and say, personally, I don't think that Will and Pac got a lot in common like that. I don't think so, personally. Now, they might maybe got a sense of humor or whatever the case is. But I don't see that Will Smith and Tupac Shakur have a lot in common. They might have been good friends, possibly. But do they have a lot in common? Do they have a lot in common? I don't think they have a lot in common. Or at least not fundamentally as people. I don't think they have a lot in common. What I think was that Jada realized she couldn't be with Tupac, and she wanted to make Will Tupac 2.0. You know what I'm saying? That's Pac 2.0. Will can be as close to Tupac as possible. And Will couldn't do that because that's not who Will is. All right. And that goes back to the first clip of Jada was always disappointed. And we're gonna play this later on. Jada was always disappointed about who Will was. As she's going on in different interviews, and we're gonna play it a little later, she's all like, yeah, we were just disappointed in people that we thought we were supposed to be. We were disappointed in people we thought we were supposed to be. We're gonna play that in a little bit, all right? But let's finish this.
I couldn't handle it, you know. I was the soft rapper from Philly, and he was Pac.
Right.
Okay. Will is very insecure of that. Will is very, very insecure of that. Now, let me see. I got some other clips that I definitely need to play you guys. I want to play this, and then we're going to get into some of like the movie roles and stuff like that too. Let's play this clip.
He was crying.
And all of this is to add context to the situation. I think this was on like Father's Day or whatever the case is. But this is Jada essentially saying she didn't want to be married, period. Now, when she says that Tupac asked her to marry her, she's saying that now. There's no confirmation of that. And some fact checkers have come out and said that don't make any sense because of the dates, that she's lying. But she said that on this, and I want you to look at the facial expressions that Will makes.
I really didn't want to get married, but
We only got married because Gammy was crying.
well, Gammy, this is what happened. It was almost as if Gammy was like, "You have to get married, so let's talk about the wedding." I was like, I never wanted to be married.
I don't remember that. I remember feeling very strongly and wanting you guys to be married. I do remember that.
Yes.
But I don't remember your rejection of the idea of marriage.
Okay.
I remember the rejection of the idea of a wedding.
Now, she said she didn't want to be married at all. She never said that about Tupac. She said in multiple different cases that if she got married to Tupac, Tupac would have divorced her. That was her concern, is getting a divorce from Tupac. Now, I want to bring this up real quick. You see. Hold on. Screen share. Now, this comes from Wikipedia. And this is just essentially Jada and, her movie roles. Because Jada was never this super, super big star that people might say she is, okay? Now, this was from 1996 to 2002. Essentially, that's kind of where she had her peak, and then it kind of just started to go downhill from there, okay? Jada Pinkett, Jada starred with the actor and comedian Eddie Murphy in the 1996 remake of Nutty Professor, portraying the love interest of the morbidly obese, kind-hearted university professor. That was Jada's really, really big break. If people know about Eddie Murphy, people know a lot of people got their big breaks from Eddie Murphy. A lot of people got put on through Eddie Murphy. We can talk about Jada Pinkett. We can talk about Holly Berry. We can talk about Dave Chappelle. We can talk about Samuel L. Jackson. A lot of people kind of got their foot wet with that. All right. So we're looking into this, and then, okay, so that's 1996. The film was a commercial success. It earned a lot of money in America. Then after that, right after that, she was on Set It Off, okay, which was a crime drama about 4 women who robbed banks, escaped from poverty, with, you know, Queen Latifah, Vivica Fox, Kimberly Ellis. Okay. So she was on some things, San Francisco Chronicles or whatever the case. Now, mind you, around this time, she's with Will. In 1997, she did a cameo on Scream 2. Nothing really big. I want you guys to understand, besides the Nutty Professor and Set It Off, she was never like no main thing in anything until she played, you know, a news reporter in Return to Paradise, all this stuff, but she was never really super big until we get down to here in 2001, where it says in 2001, Jada Pinkett played a loudmouth wife and a moderately successful comedian in Kingdom Come with LL Cool J, Vivica Fox, Anthony Anderson, and Tony Braxton and Whoopi Goldberg. Okay, that was good. And a lot of that was because of the popularity that Will got. Now, one of the biggest things that set her off, because she was always kind of like in smaller budget films. That a lot of, she was never in no like big blockbuster, or she never played a super big role in like a super big blockbuster movie at that time. One of her biggest roles was after when she played in the biograph of Ali, which, if you guys know, that forget his name. Will Smith played Muhammad Ali in 2001. All right. And she played Muhammad Ali's wife in 2001. She expressed that she did not want to play Muhammad Ali's wife with Will. She expressed that she didn't want to play that, but was essentially forced to play that. Now, going down here, and the reason why I bring this stuff up, and the reason why I said all of this, why are we doing this the long way? The reason why I say all of this is to show you that she was never this super big, oh my God, it's Jada Pinkett Smith. She was never really that until first it was Eddie Murphy, and then it was kind of Will who breathed life into her like that. And watch it, okay? So, continuing, she says, now after this, which she didn't want to play Will Smith's wife. Now, let me ask you guys a question. She played Will Smith's wife, and Will Smith played Muhammad Ali. Do you guys honestly believe that it was somebody looking for Jada Pinkett Smith and then was all like, hey, Jada, you know what? You might as well get your husband to play in this role. Or do you think it was more of the fact that Jada was asked after Will? Since they got Will, they all like, oh, you might as well bring your wife, Jada. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Excuse me. Turn my phone. No, they asked for Jada after getting Will, after securing Will. That's why. Okay. So after that, and Jada got this role essentially because of Will. Nobody was checking for Jada and then said, oh, you might as well bring Will Smith. At the time, there's not many black men at all who was doing better than Will Smith. Arguably none in his age bracket with his career going like that. All right. So then it says perhaps her best known role to this date, okay, in her entire acting career was when she played Niobe in the Matrix films and the Matrix Reloaded. She played Niobe in the Matrix films in 2003, and then she played in the Matrix Revolutions in 2003. I guess they were filming at the same time. She played in the Matrix sequels. Now, no, I'm of course Denzel, but the thing is that Denzel and Will have an age gap. So Will was playing certain roles that Denzel kind of Denzel had a kind of age gap, I would say. So Denzel, of course, was more successful, or whatever the case is. There was people are bringing up names, Morgan Freeman, Denzel. There was names, but look at the age. Will is younger than Denzel and Morgan Freeman. Okay, he was younger than Samuel L. Jackson as well too. So when you factor that in, that's what I was talking about. But even still, all right. So let me ask you guys, let me say something. I don't know if you guys know, but did you guys know that Will was asked to play the character Morbius? That's the guy who was sitting up there talking to Neo in the very first Matrix movie, where he was like, do you want to take the red pill or do you want to take the blue pill? All right. Will was asked to play that role. Will turned that role down. All right. They always wanted Will to play in something in the Matrix. One of Will's things was that Will wanted to be the headliner of the movie. He didn't want to be the second and third or whatever the case in the movie. So Will turned that down. The reason that anybody even looked for Jada to play in the Matrix, which is one of her biggest movies, period, one of her biggest acting things, period, is because of Will. Nobody would have even looked in Jada's direction had it not been for Will. Jada was never a big star in any blockbuster or anything like that, or was on the red carpet or anything like that. Nobody was checking for her had it not been for Will. She has an issue with that. She has always, a lot of people say that she's always expressed jealousy towards the fact that she had to kind of essentially come up off of Will. Will played in the Wild Wild West, which was one of his least successful movies, if we're gonna be honest. Okay, exactly. It's almost like the Steph and Aisha thing, where Jada doesn't feel satisfied being the wife of a successful husband. She wants to be the it girl. She wants to be the it girl. She wanted to be that, and she could never really be that. All right. So after that, and then we're gonna go over. After that, she played in that, and that got a lot of money. Then she was in a movie with Jamie Foxx and Will Smith, Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise in 2004. So she's she's in bigger movies now. She voiced Gloria in the Madagascar films. And who else is in the Madagascar films is Chris Rock. So that was probably interesting. But that's kind of it. If you look at that, and besides Madagascar, then you look at some of the other things. I'm not going to try to click on too much stuff, but you look at some of the other things in 2005, one of the biggest hits now the Madagascar films were really, really successful. And then she played a wife in kind of forgettable roles. Besides the Madagascar, she kind of started playing less of a significant role. She was playing like certain little dramas, small comedy dramas with Adam Sandler, Lord have mercy. Yeah, okay. And it just kind of went downhill from there. And she started playing a lesser significant roles, because the thing is that she was just not it. And the thing is that it's not that she can't act, but she was just not the headline. She was not like the headliner girl. She was not the it girl. She was not that. She played in Gotham. Her last significant role was in Gotham, and that's it. And the thing is that they had Gotham, and it's not like she was a main character in the Gotham TV show. She was a villain who was kind of like off and on. She wasn't like even the main villain in the Gotham TV show. And to be honest, I liked her role in the Gotham TV show. I liked her character, and I think she did well. This isn't to diss her acting chops, but this is to say all of this stuff builds jealousy. When you're with somebody in a relationship, which is why we're talking about this, when you're with somebody in a relationship, you guys should be working in sync with each other. It shouldn't be this competition of, I don't want to be in your shadow. I don't want to be in your shadow. She's upset the fact that the man she's with is not Tupac. Like Will said, and which is what I played, and I'm going to play this clip now. Will said that Jada was always trying to get Will and Tupac to kind of get along and mix. She was always trying to mold Will into Tupac. All right. And Will never accepted that because Will was always kind of insecure of Tupac. So he always kind of kept a distance from Tupac because he was always insecure. So she doesn't like that. I showed you the clip. She never felt really comfortable with that. And then she never really appreciated the fact that she was always a B or C list actress. Okay. She was always ungrateful for those things. All right. All right. So breaking this down, or whatever the case is. Now, let me find this clip right here. So that brings us to this today. We're going to skip ahead a little bit, but I'm going to show you why we're skipping ahead in a little bit for a reason.
There are so many surprising things in the book, but the thing that surprised me the most, that I actually had to reread it because I said, is this true?
Right.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Yes.
It was not a divorce on paper,
Right.
but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
Yes.
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that a lot of people say things like, why are we getting on Jada? Jada is not that bad. Jada and Will agree to it. It's always this thing of Jada and Will agree to it. Jada and Will agree to it. They agree to it. They agree to it. I don't think that Jada and Will both agree to it. I think that this is what Jada wanted because there's a power dynamic in the relationship that's off, and it's off balance. The power dynamic in a relationship is that Will always wanted Jada Pinkett before she was Jada Pinkett Smith. He always wanted that. Even when he was with his first wife, he always wanted her specifically. He cannot keep his mind off of her. She always wanted another man. All right. So his thing is going on to please her, and her thing is I always wanted to keep myself in an arm's distance from you because I never wanted you. And she almost feels like I'm stuck with you. All right. Because the only reason that Jada is relevant at all today, she would have been a terrible has-been had it not been for Will. All right. Jada, and we're going to really go into Jada's problem. Jada has a problem where somebody said in a thing kind of she has narcissistic tendencies where she's very self-centered. She believes everything is about her happiness, her healing, her this, her that. It's about her. The relationship is about her. Her happiness is about her. Her happiness is number one priority above the happiness of Will and even above the happiness of her children. So let's look at this.
Communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get into after this, because the biggest thing is why has Will not divorced Jada? That's the question everybody's wondering. What is wrong with Will Smith? Why does he not just divorce Jada? What is wrong with him? Why is he doing this? Okay. So we're going to break this down.
August was probably trying to communicate because I could actually see how he would perceive it as permission because we were separated amicably.
Yeah.
And I think he also wanted to make it clear that he's not a homewrecker, which he's not.
I think so. I mean, because this.
So this is, and the reason why she's bringing this up is because there was a rumor with her and her affair with August Alsina. There was a rumor going around that Will Smith essentially gave August permission to have an affair with Jada. And that's why she addressed that. So we have to do a very thorough breakdown of this.
This is your red table, and you like brought yourself to the red table. I think you need to say clearly what happened.
As far as what?
You and I decided we were going to take our space, and what happened.
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes.
Now, pay very close attention to the body language in this, okay? She says, yeah, I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said. And an entanglement. Will is laughing through pain. You can tell by Will's facial expression that Will is holding back tears. Will wants to cry right now. Okay? A lot of people say, oh, okay, they staged this. This is only because of the fact that you know, they have an open relationship, and Will Jada is the one who got caught with the open relationship. All right, that's the thing. Jada got caught with the open relationship. All right, and that's the only reason why they're even having this, because of whatever. Now, I want to show you right before we go with this, because there's some science I want to bring this out if I can get to it. All right, here we go. Before we go here, let's go here. All right. Now, this is essentially, and I've talked about this before, people's facial expressions when they're crying. Okay. Look at this quote. It says, when crying, the blood vessels around the eyes, face, and nose become dilated with increased blood flow, leading to swelling, puffiness, and redness, explains Dr. Dangni Zhu. That's how I believe it's pronounced. Okay. So, and then he says, okay, essentially to help with this, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when people actually are legitimately crying, you see it in their face, not just tears. A lot of people think crying and tears are synonymous with each other. When people cry, they have tears. But the thing is that people can force a tear to come out. Okay. One of the things that actors do when they have to cry in a movie scene or whatever the case is, they generally have to cry. So they have to think of something that makes them emotional, and they have to think of something that makes them cry, and then use that for whatever the movie role is. So they're not actually crying because their best friend fell in a volcano like they're crying in the movie, but they might be crying because their mother died 2 years ago, and they're using that genuine sadness for whatever role or whatever the case is. This is why people can tell bad acting. Do you guys remember the Kyle Rittenhouse situation? When you see Kyle Rittenhouse or Amber Geiger or whatever the case is, when you see them getting up there and you see them doing all this fake crying, and I have for years given you guys the warnings of fake crying. The warnings of fake crying is when people are doing a lot of overly sniffing. People are overly sniffing to try to make the sounds of crying. People are wiping their face a lot, overly, profusely wiping their face, wiping tears that are not there because they know they're not producing any tears. Because it's difficult to fake a cry. You can't really generally fake a cry. You can make yourself cry by tapping into emotions of things that can make you cry, but you can't just cry. You know what I'm saying? So when people try to fake cry, it doesn't look genuine. You can tell the face does not, the blood vessels and everything doesn't have that puffy face to it. That's why when people cry, even after they're done crying, it takes a while for their face to kind of get back together. Their face doesn't even recover right back then, right when they're done crying. All right. And I've talked about this for a while. So when you look at Will is genuinely, this isn't just acting or whatever the case is. Will is genuinely crying in this situation, even though he's holding it and not tears aren't coming out. He's not wiping his face or whatever. You can tell by his facial expressions that Will wants to cry. Okay. You can tell also by Jada's facial expressions that she's not even bothered at all whatsoever. She has no concern. She takes no accountability. And I'm bringing this up to show you what real crying and real fake crying is, because if this was staged, they would both be pretending. They would both be saying, I'm sorry. They would both be all like, well, you know, we had a hard time, but we're back together again and all this stuff. You wouldn't see this very one-sided dynamic. Now, let me get this off the screen and get the Jada thing back on.
Yes.
A relationship.
Yes, it was a relationship. Absolutely. I was in a
She
lot
said,
of pain.
yes, it was a relationship. Absolutely.
Clearly what happened.
As far as what?
You and I decided we were going to take our space, and what happened?
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship.
Yes, it was a relationship. Absolutely. I was in a lot of pain, and I was very broken. Now, in the process of that relationship, I definitely realized that you can't find happiness outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, in the video I played you before, Jada has this issue where Jada is essentially not happy with herself. Jada has terrible insecurities, which is leading to why Jada wants to be the it girl. Jada has insecurities about her hair. She has insecurities about essentially who she is in society, which is why she always clings to men to make her happy. I believe, and I'm just giving you my opinion, I believe Tupac genuinely made Jada happy. And I don't think that even if because there's no real proof besides what Jada says that her and Tupac were ever in no intimate relationship like that, at least from what I've seen. But the thing is that she's not happy within herself. And when you have a woman who's not happy within herself, she doesn't have any self-happiness. She can't really bring happiness to a marriage or to a relationship at all. So when things weren't working out with Will, she's using her son's friend to make her happy. And I'm going to circle back a couple of things because I don't think this has been broken down the way I would have done it, to be honest.
luckily enough, you and I were also going through a process of healing in a much different manner. I would definitely say we did everything that we could to get away from each other, only to realize that that wasn't possible.
So we come into the red table. So I'm in the Jada position right now. So,
Okay.
you know, you during that time launched into an interaction.
Now just look at Will's face. He has redness all in his face. He's really trying not to cry right now, not to break down right now. You can tell by Jada's facial expressions, Jada is not bothered in any way at all.
Action with August. What do you feel like you were looking for?
I just wanted to feel good. It had been so long since I felt good. And it was really a joy to just help heal somebody.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, look at going back, right? Look at her facial expression. She looks happy explaining this. This is the meme. Essentially, Will has turned into a crybaby meme, and she's almost ecstatic about quote unquote helping heal somebody.
Since I felt good. And it was really a joy to just help heal somebody.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with my...
Now, I'm gonna say this. One of the things that makes this situation a lot worse than what anybody has ever really said is not just the fact that she had an affair. It's not that. Even if, because people are saying, oh, they were swingers or whatever the case is, even if they were swingers, what makes this situation worse than all the other situations is who she did it with. This was a kid, essentially, old enough to not only be her son, but with friends with her son. August, she knew August and met August through her son, Jaden. And then she got into a sexual relationship with her son's friend. So that means August Alsina was going to the Smith house and playing on Jaden's PlayStation in the day. And then at night, he was playing on Jada Pinkett Smith's Xbox, if you know what I'm saying. And that's really messed up. That's really, really messed up. I want you guys to honestly think, this whole interaction, imagine if this was Willow's friend, their daughter. Imagine if this was Willow's female friend and Will Smith had an affair with his wife, with his daughter's friend, with not only a girl old enough to be his daughter, but his daughter's actual friend. And then they're having a red table talk. And Will is just sitting up there like, hey, I mean, I don't really regret it. It feels good to heal somebody. I'm kind of happy. And Jada, just imagine if the roles were reversed. All right. I don't think enough people are really looking at the fact that not only did Jada cheat, she cheated on her son's friend, with his son's friend. Do you know how messed up that is? Not just to her husband, because they were married, but to her children. Can you imagine how messed? Now, think about, when did Jaden? I'm gonna bring this up. I had closed this down. When did Jaden Smith start dressing like a girl? When did Jaden Smith? You guys think about how this damages a person, a kid. You bring your friend home, and then your friend and your mom are having a relationship, and your mom is still married to your dad. Now look at this, y'all. Hold on, not that one. I gotta take that down. Let me take that down. Bring this up, because this happened around 2016, essentially. So when did Jaden start wearing dresses? And if you look, Jaden Smith, now I'm going to scroll down here. He started acting out and wearing dresses in 2016. This whole house, their whole house, notice the whole dynamic of the house around 2015, 2016. This is where Jaden Smith started coming out with dresses like left and right. I'm trying to find the actual, like, that, not too much the pictures, but look, all this stuff, 2016. He really, oh Lord, okay, it's a whole bunch of ads on this one. Okay, I'm gonna get off that. I'm gonna take that out. But if you look at the dates, right? I didn't even make that big. If you look at the dates, I'm trying to pull up another thing. Okay, right here. Now let's let me pull this up right here. I thought I made it bigger. Okay. Jaden is known for his outlandish style, which shines through his music and red carpet. In 2016, which is right around the time when August Alsina and Jada Pinkett Smith were having their entanglement, that's all of a sudden when Jaden started dressing like a girl. He became is when he turned heads, when he became the face of Louis Vuitton women's wear. So he started wearing skirts in public and all that stuff. He's a model, though. There's a lot of I don't know, because he don't really model a lot of dude stuff. He models a lot of gender fluid stuff. And Jaden had a thing of acting. Now, they had hiccups before. Him and his father, Will, had a flop movie, which was After Earth or something like that, like some intergalactic thing. After Earth. Lord, get this off the screen. I don't want to see it anymore. But just notice how much, essentially, what I'm saying is notice the damage that causes everybody in the house, not just Will. And Jada is sitting up there completely unbothered and unremorseful of the situation at all, period.
Codependency, which is another thing that I had to learn to break in this cycle. Just that idea of needing to fix and being drawn to people that need help, whether it's your health or whether it's your addictions. There's something about that childhood trauma that feels as though it can be fixed through fixing people.
Now, I'm going to say this. If this was Will, and Will said this, and it was about a woman, if it was about his daughter's friend, and he's talking about, yeah, I just wanted to help her and fix her, and it felt good to fix somebody and all that stuff, everybody would be saying Will groomed his daughter's friend. His daughter's friend, who's old enough to be his child, was groomed by Will, and Will manipulated and abused his daughter's friend. I don't think enough people is shining the proper light on this table talk the way they need to. Because the thing is that it's like I keep saying, this doesn't just reflect her relationship with Will. This reflects who Jada is as an individual, as a whole being. Her core values and beliefs and principles as a person is completely self-absorbed, completely self-centered, completely unempathetic and unremorseful. Okay? Unmerciful, all of those things.
Versus fixing me.
Yeah.
And I think that whole process with all really showed me that and taught me that.
So she's talking about what the affair she had with essentially a child, because it would be a child to her. The affair she had with I don't want to say a child because he wasn't a kid. The affair she had with her son's best friend, taught her, and how it was beneficial to her, and how she does not regret it at all.
And I'm really grateful for that lesson.
And she says she's really grateful for it.
I feel like that husband, like I'm with you at the press conference. I'm that husband. Now I got to be with you at the press conference while you like tell the world about your transgressions.
Well,
Like I love my baby. I'm gonna stand by my baby no matter what.
well, I definitely understand why it would look that way or feel that way, but I actually don't look at it as a transgression at all.
She doesn't look at it. I want you to understand, Jada is telling 100% the truth. Jada does not feel slightly remorseful. She says, I don't look at it as a transgression at all. You had not just sex. You literally had an entire relationship with your son's friend, who was probably at the time in his late teens or early 20s. And he was going through a whole bunch of damage himself. And you essentially manipulated August Alsina, brought him in your home, and then had an affair for your own personal benefit. And Will is trying to play it out. Okay, he was in his 24. Okay. I knew he was kind of in like his early 20s around that. Okay. And she was looking like, hey, yeah, I don't even look at it as a transgression. She doesn't even look at it as a transgression, which shows Jada has absolutely no remorse whatsoever. She's not apologetic whatsoever. If she could go back and do it again, nothing would stop her. She has no shame at all for what she's done. And you can tell in Will's face, everything he says, everything Jada says makes Will just want to cry. You can look at his facial expressions and he looks beaten. He looks very sad, very disappointed. All right. It's really sad.
That particular journey, I learned so much about myself and was able to really confront a lot of emotional immaturity, emotional insecurity, and I was really able to do some really deep healing. You know, and as I came through and started to realize certain things about you and I, he decided to break all communication with me,
Right.
which was totally understandable.
Right.
That's sad. That's absolutely sad. That's absolutely pathetic. Shout out to Cyberdyne for the Cash App. I see you, brother. Shout out to you. Thank you very much, brother. She's showing she has absolutely no concern, no remorse or anything. Why? Because she never really loved Will like the way Will loved her. People are saying, okay, why is Will so damaged then? Why does Will not want to divorce her? Why? Will has an issue. Will Smith has an issue, and he's expressed this, and we're going to really get into it because this is the whole thing about their dynamic. After we get into why Will is damaged, then we're going to show the entire dynamic of essentially what the situation really, really is. All right. Then we're going to really break it down. Will is damaged because Will always wanted to be essentially a hero in the eyes of people. He, not in the eyes of people, I'm saying in the eyes of his loved ones. He wanted to be a hero to the people he loved. Will loved Jada well before Jada loved him. If Jada ever really loved him. Will was obsessed with Jada. And Will admits this way before Jada was obsessed with him. Jada was still clinging on to Tupac. And Jada knew, like, in Jada's situation, she couldn't do any better. She essentially couldn't do any better than Will. So she got stuck with Will. Now, the reason why, let's show what is the reason why. I'm going to show you this. And this goes into the mind of who Will Smith is and why this has happened and why his relationships are so terrible.
How we decide to confront our fears, that is the person we become. I decided to be funny. It's this compulsive desire to constantly please others, to keep them laughing and smiling at all times, to redirect all the attention in the room away from the ugly and uncomfortable toward the joyful and beautiful. It's there a true entertainer is born.
Now, I brought this up from his thing. He has a thing on YouTube about how he lost all that weight and all that stuff. The reason for that is because of the fact that essentially Will, his thing is he had a very rough childhood. Okay. So Will became a people pleaser. Will wants to please, and Will's mind, he can please, and that can get rid of the pain and the abuse. Now, check this out. And this is why I believe that none of this stuff was agreed to. None of this stuff they agreed to had anything, none of it. Okay. I'm going to get into this right after this.
Each of my siblings remembers that night in the bedroom. With me standing there in the doorway, I watched my father punch my mother so hard that she spit up blood. That moment, probably more than any other moment in my life, has defined who I am today. Each of my siblings responded differently in ways that would go on to define who we were for much of our lives. If Harry was fight, Ellen was flight, and I became a pleaser. I wanted to please and placate him,
because as long as Daddy-O was laughing and smiling, I believed we would be safe. I was the entertainer in the family. I wanted to keep everything light and fun and joyful. And while this psychological response would later bear artistic and financial fruits, it also meant that my little 9-year-old brain processed Daddy-O's abusive episodes as somehow being my fault.
The reason why I want to bring this up is because I think a lot of people can learn a lesson from this. Not just from analyzing Jada, but analyzing Jada and analyzing Will too. I don't think people bring up his father's situation enough. Will's father was physically, verbally, all that stuff, abusive to his mother, especially when he got drunk. He talks about this a lot. And Will would see this. They would argue, they would fight in front of the kids. Will is the oldest. So Will's response is to constantly keep everyone around him in a good mood. And to keep them around him in a good mood, that's going to stop the problem before it starts. If his father was in a good mood, that would stop his father from abusing his mother or abusing the kids. That would his father wouldn't be so upset. He wouldn't hit his mother, punch his mother, whatever the case, which is totally messed up. And a child shouldn't have to go through this. But this is what Will went through when he was 9. And this is why I say Will was damaged well before he ever got with Jada or whatever the case is. Now, it did make him a good entertainer. He did learn how to essentially be funny, be a good actor. But the thing is that Will's whole thing is, I can please my abuser to the point where they don't want to abuse anymore. And that's his issue with Jada. Jada does not have any sort of remorse, sympathy, anything. And now that's why I played the red table thing. Jada doesn't see what she's doing as wrong or flawed at all. She talks a lot about healing, but she never talks about how she never shows how what she did was wrong. She always talks about healing as if she's telling it about somebody else, as if her healing process has already been done. She doesn't show remorse. Even when you've healed, even when you've learned from your mistake, you were going to be remorseful. Jada doesn't show any remorse for anything she's done. Jada is a completely self-absorbed. With Will's dynamic to Jada, Will has, and what somebody is saying is what a lot of modern day simps go through. Will is like that. He's very talented. Will is very charismatic. A lot of people liked Will. Will is a very likable person. Maybe not to Chris Rock, but to a lot of other people. Will is a likable person. But the thing is that Will lacks a fundamental aspect because of the damage in his childhood that Jada uses and abuses all of the time. Will lacks essentially the will to stop the abuse and confront the abuse at the source. Okay, to fight against the abuse instead of to, like as he said, placate the abuse, instead of, like as he said, essentially calm and pacify and please the person who is being abusive to the point where they don't want to be abusive anymore. Like, for instance, and they say this all the time with a bully, the best way to get a bully to stop bullying somebody is to fight back. And this is the whole reason why we're here, because this is about self-improvement. We can use the Jada and Will thing for examples on everything else, all right? This situation is about essentially looking at abuse and stopping the abuse at its source, or whatever the case is. Now, as you've seen, the more Will does that, the more Will placates Jada and big ups Jada and does this stuff, and he's trying to show this affection. Number one, because he wants to be the complete opposite of his father. He doesn't want to be like his father. He wants to be overly affectionate. He's overly in love. He's overly expressive with his affection and all that. He does that too much, okay, to try to be the opposite of what he thought his father, his abusive, neglectful father was. And this is in his words, right? And he does not stop the abuse where it is when it comes to his loved ones, because he believes, okay, if you're happy, then my happiness is second to your happiness. Now, he talks a lot about in different interviews and stuff like that about how people cannot make each other happy. The issue with Jada and Will is the fact that Jada, essentially, she got with Will because Will was supposed to make her happy because she was not happy. She did not get with Will because of the person Will was, and she wanted to be with Will. She wanted to create a future with Will. She got with Will, and I'm going to play the clip one more time. This clip right here.
Took me years to realize. And then Will comes along, and I'm like, maybe that's it. I need a man, and then it's like, latch onto that. It's like, okay, that's my new Prozac. Will, he's gonna, now it's his job to make my life better. That doesn't work either, and it would take me years.
Now, somebody said that doesn't work either, right? That's the thing. Jada got with Will, essentially looking at Will like, fix my life. I am unhappy with my life. I am internally unhappy with my life. Will is going to fix it. Will could not fix it. Will cannot fix it because Will is not his or anybody's job to understand why you're not happy and to make you happy. Jada was not unhappy because she was broke, because she was unsuccessful, because she didn't have a social life. She was not, the things that Will could provide for Jada was not going to make Jada happy, because to a lesser degree, Jada had those things and she still was not happy. Jada had an internal battle she needed to fight and she needed to deal with, that she was avoiding and saying, okay, well, this Tupac can make me happy. Okay, Tupac's not available. Will can make me happy. Okay, Will can't do it. August Alsina can make me happy. And remember, she said this, I just wanted to feel happy. He can make me happy. He can make me happy. He can make me happy. It's me. That's what Jada is like. It's me. I want to be happy, and you have to do that for me. All right? Will's problem is the fact that Will wants to be that for her. Will essentially wants to be Captain Save-A-Ho for Jada. And Will can't do that. There's nothing Will can do, because Will can't, first off, be Tupac. He can't do that. He can't be Tupac. Okay? And Will's dealing with his own problems because Will is facing a certain level of abuse and neglect from Jada. As you've seen here, when we talk about neglect, you can see from the very beginning, play it, my bad. From the very beginning, Jada felt like, okay, this is not really me being with Will Smith and all. This not really what I was looking at, okay? And Will is being overly expression. And now when you use the context of his father and his father's abuse to his mother and how that's changed Will and turned Will essentially into this people-pleasing nice guy who does anything to make the people he loves happy, and this is why I played it in the beginning. It completely makes you look at their whole dynamic and their whole relationship all the way differently now. Their whole relationship is you looking at it from a different perspective now. Jada doesn't want to be with Will. Jada doesn't care about Will Smith. Jada cares about herself. And Jada got with Will Smith because Will was supposed to take her to the next level. She was going to be the it girl. Will was going to transform into Tupac. And Jada was going to have the magical, blissful life that she always wanted, but it did not happen that way. And Will wanted Jada to want him the way he wanted her. And his almost obsession with Jada is one of the reasons why his first marriage did not work out. According to the situation, I forget his first wife's name, but she and Jada had a conversation on the Red Table Talk. Now, when you look at all of this stuff, you can tell Will is on her. She's not really like into Will like that. She's looking like, okay, when is the life that I was supposed to be living gonna start? When is that gonna start? When are you gonna change into the person I wanted you to be? And Will is constantly trying to do things. She's constantly pulling back. Notice in their dynamic, Jada's never like leaning on Will or whatever the case is, if it's not Will pulling her into him. Will has to like physically grab and pull her in, or whatever the case is. She's always kind of like leaning off or leaning back or looking, trying to get the kiss, and she's like, nah, I'm not really trying to do that. They're having arguments on the carpet. Look at this little kiss. Now he's leaning in for the kiss. She doesn't really want to do it. And this dynamic can be found in a lot of different relationships. Okay? Because Jada is about herself and Will is about her. This picture right here goes to show it. Jada's not trying to kiss Will back. Will is kissing Jada. Jada's not kissing her back. Jada's not even looking at Will. Her head is pointing kind of opposite towards that. She looks upset by that. If somebody said it is painful to watch, it's upsetting. And the reason why we're having this is because how you start the relationship should be on healthy grounds. They did not start the relationship on healthy grounds at all. They started the relationship on Will is obsessed and Will wants to be a hero. He wants to, and he said this in other videos, he was always upset that he could not save his mother. He always felt hurt that he couldn't save his mother. Will wants to be this essential Captain Save-A-Ho. And Jada wanted somebody else, which is why the relationship turned into this disaster. All right. Now, what can we learn from this? We're not Will Smith. We're not Jada Pinkett Smith. What can we learn from this? What we learn is, before you get into a situation with somebody, and I'm gonna give advice, because there's advice that can be had to the men and the women. To the man, the woman that you want that woman to want you as a person, as an individual, as a man. Okay, not merely, and I'm saying merely because it is all in a pie chart. It's all in a pie chart. Of course, a woman is going to want a man. She has this automatic expectation that her man is going to essentially make her life better. That him being there is going to make her life better. That's in, no matter what they say, that's in their expectations. All right. It's secret, but it's in their expectations. And that's not necessarily wrong if that's a certain percentage of the pie chart. It's a problem when that takes up a huge amount of the pie chart. The biggest part of the pie chart of why she should be with you is because of who you are as a person, what you can accomplish, your character, your drive, okay, your discipline, your being as a person. Not the status elevation that she's going to get by being alongside you. Otherwise, you might just get, just a hoe for the night or whatever the case. Not that. That's not the main thing. All right. It was a red flag with the constant obsession with Tupac. The constant obsession with Tupac is who Jada really wanted in the first place. All right. That's who Jada was obsessed with. That constant obsession. He tried to essentially make, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna give her space, I'm gonna do this. I think the reason they separated is not because of Will, even though Will is saying that. I think that that's because Jada either made that decision or drove him out. I don't think they make 50-50 decisions on a lot, or if anything. All right. So as a man, that's what you want. If she's with you and you're not her first option, and that's the problem. Will was never, ever, ever Jada's first option. Jada always wanted Pac. Jada wanted Will to be like Pac. That's why Jada tried to get Will and Pac to bond before Pac passed away. That's who Jada really wanted. You do not, as a man, ever want to be with a woman who wants you to be a man she couldn't get. She has an obsession with this other man, and like, I'll be with you, and then you'll mold and transform and shapeshift into him. That's not who you want. So my advice to the brothers is to avoid women like Jada at all. Avoid women who do not take any sort of accountability, who do not have any point sense of empathy, anything of just complete selfishness, not only to you, but to her child, okay, who uses and abuses people, who's very self-centered, all of these things. You do not want that. Those are huge, tremendous red flags in women. On to the women's advice. Women, you do not want to be with a man who is essentially going to do whatever it takes and change and mold and let things pass to heal you, okay? The man that you pick needs to be the leader. If he's not going to be he can't be the leader if he's always trying to placate your desires. If he's always trying to pedestalize you, if he's always trying to do that for you. And women, in my advice again to the brothers, women resent men who do that. As you can see, their relationship has gotten worse. Women don't like men who do that, who's constantly trying to suck up and get brownie points and simp and do this and do that. Women don't like men who do that. That repels women from the men. This is why it's important for you to learn not to do that, all right? As you can tell throughout their relationship got more and more separated the further along it gotten, all right? The closer to today's date the further along it gets, all right? If a woman, if she has a type to the women, y'all got a type or whatever the case is. Women have types. Let's be honest. What a lot of women try to do is if they can't get the guy they want, they'll get with a runner-up and then try to turn him into the guy that they want in the first place. It's like, you don't want the color blue, you wanted the color red, but then you're going to get with blue and then try to turn blue into red, and that's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're not going to turn blue into red. If you got with blue, blue is the color. All right. So that happens a lot, you see, with women, and women need to stop trying to do that. All right. Who you get, that's what it is. That's what it is. And that's fine. All right. She has a lot of self-hatred. She has a lot of damage. She was really messed up. Essentially very messed up, and it's turned her into a very selfish, conceited narcissist. And I know a lot of people use the word narcissist a lot, so I try to be sparing on that word, but has a lot of narcissistic tendencies, a lot of that. And she needed that before getting with Will, who was already damaged, and his damage only elevated her level of damage. If he was at 5, his 5 boosted her 7 to a 10, 11, 12. That's why we have this. So this is things that we can all learn from. Going into a place, essentially knowing, and you're not going to, a lot of people are not going to get into a relationship already healed or whatever the case. You're going to have baggage. Okay. Getting into a relationship, knowing what your problem is and how you need to heal. You should not be in a relationship and thinking that this person is going to make me happy because I'm internally damaged inside. That's not the way relationships should even work. Okay. That's not the way partnerships should work. You should not get with somebody being all like, I'm broken. I'm going to be with you and you're going to fix me. That's not their responsibility to fix you. Your responsibility is to work together for something as far as the family legacy is concerned. So this is the dynamic that I think a lot of people can learn from. All right. a lot of people can learn from. Yeah, she's very insecure. She is very insecure. She never was the girl she wanted to be. And she's always hated Will because Will was never the man to turn her into the girl she wanted. She never had the life with Will that she wanted to have. She never had the man she wanted to have. She never had the career she wanted to have. All right. And she expresses this. Let me see if I can pull up this clip, because I didn't have it all loaded up. No. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pull this. Okay. Oh, I messed up. Okay. Now check this out, y'all. I had to pull this up. Okay.
That's a lot of things. And we hadn't figured that out.
During our walk in Baltimore, Jada reflected on their breakup.
Why did the relationship fracture?
Oh, why it fractured? That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be.
Oh.
Now, pay very close attention to that. I think we were still stuck in our fantasy of what the other person should be. But that's flawed, because Will never wanted Jada to be anything more than what Jada was. Will wanted Jada for who Jada was. Jada had a fantasy. Jada is the only one who had the fantasy. Will did not express, oh, I wanted Jada to be more like this. I wanted her to be more like this. It was essentially love at first sight for Will. Jada is the one who wanted Will to be somebody he wasn't. Let me play that back. When you understand the context of their dynamic and the dynamic with Tupac, it puts this into a lot better perspective.
We're trying. I think we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be. Oh.
And notice when she talks about healing, I think we were still stuck in our fantasy. No, she was stuck in her fantasy about what she wanted, her delusion about what she wanted in her life. That was her. That was not Will. Will wanted her and she didn't want Will. That's what it is. That's what that situation is. And this is something we can all learn from, brothers and sisters, which is why we're bringing this up. So this is essentially about self-improvement, about things that we can do better, how we can improve better. Okay. When you have two people in a damaged relationship, no wonder these kids, the kids that they raise are kind of weirdos. No diss, but yeah, they're kind of weirdos. Both of the kids, kind of weirdos, right? Because of the dynamic. All right. So this is something that we hope not to replicate, and we hope to do a learning lesson of. All right. Yeah, and a lot of people, she's still not healed. She keeps going around talking about how she needed healing. She speaks on healing. Jada speaks on healing as if this was a past tense thing. As if she was damaged at a certain point in time and then healed later on. Let me get to, I never really addressed the super chat properly. Let me get to Larry Anything Goes LLC for the $20 super chat. He says, Will Smith is a perfect example of today's male simp culture. I agree. A real man would have never allowed anyone to disrespect him like that. She has 100%. Yes. He wouldn't allow that to happen. A man would have had enough self-respect for himself to not allow that to happen. it wouldn't have even gotten to the point where it was public or anything like that. It wouldn't gotten to that point. Will has the thing of Will is trying to please, and he hopes if I please her enough, it will turn the abuse off. You won't want to abuse me because you're in such a good mood around me. That's not how you that's not how you stop abuse. That's all. That can be very narcissistic abuse. If you would just make me happier, I wouldn't be abusing you. Okay, that's a very bad sign. Okay, that Will has fell into for his essential duration of the marriage. All right, and thank you for that super chat. So this is something that we all learn from. All right, so I wanted to take a moment before the story got too far ahead. I know this is kind of offbeat about this channel, even though, to be totally honest, we've talked on relationships and stuff like this well before, or whatever the case is. I'm not turning this channel into a relationship channel, but as long as it can deal with Black empowerment, then it's important for us to discuss. And a part of Black empowerment is self-improvement. So if it deals with self-improvement, we should be able to discuss it. All right. Now, before we get out of here, I want to, and I showed this on my community tab. You all absolutely loved it. Let me pull it up one more time for you guys. Y'all absolutely loved it. All right. The flyer right here. Hold on. Let me do the countdown. Yeah, look, okay. So this is the thing that a lot of people have been speculating. Oh, what's coming? The first official flyer of the For the Culture, and we're going to start using that, family. So we're on a mission. All right, so we're going to be using hashtag For the Culture. Okay, this is going to be a revolutionary thing. Something that's never been done before. A lot of people have been wondering what is going on. When is it going to be? This is going to launch in the anniversary of the Rally for Reparations from last year in November. All right. This is going to be essentially what this is. Okay. I'm going to be there in a secret disclosed location that only a few people know. I'm going to be there. Our good sister Zizi is going to be there. Our brother Black Alpha is going to be there. I got their YouTube tags in my community tab. So you guys should definitely go over there, because what we're looking for, y'all, is in order to really get this, because what we're trying to do is set a new precedent. So in order for us to do that, we need a lot of traction going into it. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be setting the bar. We're going to be representing the culture in a way that's not been done before. When last week, when we were talking about Atlanta, and we were talking about things going on in Atlanta and all that stuff, and how to represent the people well, we've been playing this for a very long time. So you guys know, much longer than we actually announced. We only announced it when we got the tickets, got the hotel, got all the details ironed out. That's when we announced it. We didn't announce it beforehand. All right. So we made sure we did that, but we wanted to do this because we wanted to make sure that we set the precedent of what the culture is supposed to be. I want to say shout out to Tariq, because he's coming out with a new documentary about hip-hop, right? His new documentary about the origins of hip-hop is important because our culture and how we represented is important. How we represent the culture is important. How we stand on that is important. Not do they say a lot of times, or they've been saying for a while, we don't have a culture. Not only do we not have the culture, we have the culture. People don't even really think of culture unless they think of us, the way we move and talk and all that stuff. Now, what we have is a lot of people going out there like the Sexy Reds, the Sukianas, the degenerates and stuff like that, the Little Nas X, all of those people, and next thing you know, they're speaking up to their Cardi B is talking to President Biden. They're speaking up as if they're the representatives of the culture. Not Justin Pearson. What's his name? Danny Cruz, something Cruz, something. His last name was Cruz, something, right? And he was on that stage talking about, oh, well, you know, he's non-FBA, but he was talking about how we don't deserve reparations. All right. This goes really, the culture goes really deep, y'all. Talking about we don't deserve reparations. You have other people talk, well, you know, I'm black and I don't think we deserve reparations. These fake representatives. I talked about this a lot when I was bringing up Chicago, how we have all these quote unquote speakers for Chicago, and these speakers for Chicago, they'll come up and they'll say things like, oh, you know, this is not right. You shouldn't be doing this when it comes to Black Chicago. You guys are ignoring us. You guys are a problem. We don't want the immigrants to go. It's about the black and the brown, but you guys got to give us a better plan. These are controlled opposition. These are fake representatives. These are planted representatives. Representatives are not something planted. Representatives for a culture needs to come from the ground up. It needs to have the roots in the ground, in the soil, and spring up and be watered by the culture and have the sunshine from the culture and the legacy and the history. That's how it's supposed to be done. When you have representatives, we talk about Dr. King, you can talk about the Black Panthers, you can talk about Malcolm X, you can talk about a lot of other people, okay? You can talk about Ida B. Wells, you can talk about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. You can talk about all of these other people, all right? They have the roots in the soil, in the history, the legacy, the struggle, the resistance, the righteousness. That's what essentially fertilized them into being that, okay? They're not artificial plants you just put in the soil. These things grow completely out on their own, all right? So what the dominant society is trying to do, Coleman Cruz, thank you very much, Angelica Lena, I appreciate you. What the dominant society is trying to do is they are trying to essentially say, these people are your representatives. These people who are getting out on stage that we're putting the camera in front of, these are your representatives, okay? The Black and Brown Coalition, the Black Lives Matter, remember? Controlled opposition. And at the time, a lot of Black people fell for that because a lot of time I didn't even know. A lot of Black people didn't even know that this was a whole controlled opposition organization, all right? But they will do that. And they do that not only just with the movement, but the reason why we've seen so much progress with the movement is because the movement has been fertilized and grounded with the foundation of the culture of the people. The culture of the people has essentially been the driving, pushing engine in keeping the movement going over and over and over. This is why you see when it comes to, and no diss, to like other ethnic groups of people, no diss, but you see when it comes to them, they don't really have that drive the way we do, is because they don't have the culture the way we have it. Now there are individuals, don't get me wrong, and 100% salute to them. The reason why their culture when it comes to accomplishments is different is because they don't have the same cultural foundation that we do. This is why, if you guys understand about like world planting geography or whatever, I forget the term, you can only plant certain things in certain places. Only certain fruit grows in certain places. Only certain seeds can really grow in certain places, in certain environments, in certain soils, with certain temperatures, with certain weather patterns and stuff like that. Oh, you can only grow that there. You can't plant a garden in the Sahara Desert and expect the garden to grow beautiful. You can't do that in Antarctica because the environment and the soil and all of this stuff is different. So this is why you might see a plant here or there in the desert, but when you go to the jungle, when you go to the Sahara, there's plants all over the place because the environment and the soil and the culture is different. Okay. This is why we have to represent it and represent it well. We have to represent it well. This is what me and Black Alpha, when we had our broadcast, this is what we were talking about beforehand. You got to represent the culture and the people, and by doing that, you will represent the movement well too. So this is essentially what we have here. The plot of this is essentially to create a new precedent about how to represent the culture, how to talk about certain issues, how to solve certain issues. This is what this is about. Exactly. Ain't no pineapple tree. You don't see not only pineapple trees. That's a good point. When I went to Los Angeles, I was seeing, well, actually, I saw pineapple, the palm trees in South Carolina and the Carolinas. When I went to South Carolina, when I went to Los Angeles, I would see palm trees. I don't see palm trees here, not real ones. Palm trees don't naturally grow here. They don't naturally grow in the Midwest like that. Now, when you go to the Carolinas, when you go to Los Angeles, you see them. There are certain trees that grow in different places because the environment is different. All right. There's a reason why a real Christmas tree is different from an artificial Christmas tree. What they're trying to do is they're trying to essentially say the artificial Christmas tree is a better Christmas tree than the genuine tree that's been chopped down and got the lights on it. All right. And before we go into the Christmas thing, we're just using the trees as an example. This is the real Christmas tree. And you have fake artificial, and some of them are really good. Some of them cost a lot of money. Some of them are not just these plastic sticks. Some of them are really good fakes. But you can't beat the OG. And the OG has to be good and healthy and represent well, which is what me, our sister Zizi, and our brother Black Alpha are doing with this. So this is going to be one of a kind. A lot of people do it because they're friends and they want to talk about issues, or they want to have certain celebrities on. This is going to be one of the most unique things about this, is that you don't see us coming together to essentially build something, and we don't have anything before. We're a bunch of friends who just came together to build something. What you see is you see three completely different brands. We all have our own brand. We all have our own merchandise. We all have our own channels. We all have our own style. We all have our own different times. Now, of course, we've done many collabs and all of that stuff, but we all have our own different flavor to the culture, how we represent the culture. How I might say something is going to be different from how Black Alpha says something. Or what ZZ's take on a certain situation might be a different take of what I have. Okay? We all represent the culture well, but in different ways. But now we are coming together to represent it together, not just on a specific incident or a specific case or a specific topic, but just on the foundational Black American culture in general. It is going to be phenomenal, and it's coming soon. It's coming soon. I'm trying to figure out how you never heard of her. You can go to my community tab, and her YouTube thing right here, you can just click on her YouTube thing and you can find her out. Yeah. I've done things. I've done a lot of stuff with her. She's been on here for that's interesting. Well, you might be, I don't know how long you've been watching the channel, so I don't know, maybe you, I don't know. But yeah, but yes, definitely, it's going to be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. A lot of people have been sending money like, hey, I want to support financially. It's like what's that thing? Crowdfunding, damn near, to a degree. So yeah. So I appreciate all of that. The ozone fundraisers, exactly. So yeah, it's going to be phenomenal, and we cannot wait to present it to you guys, because it's not for us, it's for you guys. Let me get to Lisa's super chat. Lisa Jackson, thank you very much. That woman is a whole narcissist. She's talking about Jada, and she is. And thank you so very much, sister, for that that super chat. It's a learning lesson. It's a learning lesson. Okay. So I appreciate that, you guys. You guys should definitely you said she looks old in the picture. You think she looks old? She looks old in the picture. You think she looks old in this picture? Oh, okay, brother. Okay, all right. Oh, okay, I guess. I don't even know what to say to that. Oh, he's talking about Jada? Well, yeah, Jada is old. Jada's like 52, I think. But family, I've been on here for a while. Got to get some things wrapped up before tomorrow. Got an early day. So make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. Leave a comment on what you think about the situation with Jada, what you think about the situation with Will, how they could have fixed it, how they could have prevented it, things to do, things not to do. Let me know that in the comment section below. We are so close to 10K. We are so close to 10K. Okay. Also, please make sure that you guys follow me on my various social media platforms, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and the Afro Elite on Twitter. All right. And the links to all of that is in the description. I appreciate the super chats that we've gotten so far. All of the super chat and financial contributing information is in the description below, brothers and sisters. Also, we are going to be using the For the Culture hashtag. So we definitely want that to kind of pick up a little bit of momentum before we officially launch, because this is, like I said, this is going to be a whole nother level. We're going to hit the ground. Bam. It's going to be a bomb. It's going to be a bomb. A good one. Okay. Because it's going to kill a lot of the negativity around our culture and how we represent it. So we're going to be using the For the Culture hashtag. And I would appreciate you guys if you guys went to Twitter and you guys tweeted that out or whatever the case is, because this is the way we can all participate in this. We can all participate in this. And with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all, and you all have a good one.